Ladies and gentlemen, in recent weeks, the Amhara region in Ethiopia has become a crucible of conflict, where heavy fighting has erupted between the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, ENDF, and Amhara Fano forces. This protracted and intensifying struggle has now extended its grip over multiple fronts within the Amhara region, presenting a complex and fluid situation that warrants comprehensive analysis. The situation on the ground has been rapidly evolving, and we have received the most recent updates from the battlefield, which I will elaborate on in this video. It is crucial to understand the nuances and intricacies of this conflict to grasp its full significance. At the heart of this conflict is the ongoing confrontation in Adet, a town located in the Gojam region, as well as the surrounding outskirts of Bahirdar. Reports from multiple sources concur that a relentless and fierce battle has unfolded between the ENDF and Amhara forces in this geographical area. This intense and protracted engagement has persisted for several hours, reflecting the determination and resolve of both sides. Notably, the presence of a substantial contingent of ENDF soldiers in Bahirdar, armed with heavy weaponry, underscores the gravity of the situation. However, the most recent updates bring to light a significant shift in the balance of power. Amhara Fano forces have managed to recapture Adet Gojam, a feat achieved after grueling and unyielding combat with the ENDF and its allied forces. The latest reports confirm that Amhara Fano forces' soldiers have successfully infiltrated the town, wresting control from the ENDF. This development marks a pivotal moment in the conflict, signifying that the dynamics of control in the region are not static. Yet, it is crucial to bear in mind that, even with this success, pockets of resistance persist in the outskirts of Bahirdar, highlighting the ongoing volatility of the situation. The intensity of the fighting has not been without substantial consequences. Reports indicate significant losses for the ENDF during the recent clashes in Adet and its vicinity. It has been reported that Amhara Fano forces managed to disable and destroy 6 patrol vehicles carrying ENDF commandos. Furthermore, the toll on human life has been grave, with numerous ENDF soldiers losing their lives and a significant number sustaining injuries in this assault. This outcome is perceived as a resounding victory for Amhara Fano forces and underscores the fierceness of the battle. Amid the violence, there is a humanitarian dimension that must not be overlooked. Reports have surfaced regarding Amhara Fano forces taking affirmative steps to release hundreds of prisoners from the largest prison in the area. Earlier in the conflict, ENDF soldiers had apprehended hundreds of Amhara citizens, incarcerating them. The latest reports bring a glimmer of hope, suggesting that Amhara Fano forces, following their success in defeating the ENDF, have managed to liberate hundreds of these individuals. This humanitarian gesture amidst the turmoil signifies a measure of compassion amidst the chaos. First and foremost, in a noteworthy tactical maneuver, it has been reported that the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, ENDF, soldiers who had entered Abay just yesterday have faced staunch resistance from the formidable Fano forces operating in that area. This event highlights the resiliency and determination of Fano forces as they successfully repelled the ENDF incursion. Such localized confrontations are emblematic of the volatile and unpredictable nature of this conflict, where control over specific territories can change rapidly. Simultaneously, the conflict has extended its reach to the outskirts of Bahirdar city, a pivotal urban center within the Amhara region. Reports indicate that intense fighting is ongoing in this area, with the ENDF reportedly deploying heavy weaponry. The strategic importance of Bahirdar cannot be overstated, as it serves as the capital of the Amhara region and is one of the most densely populated cities in the region. The fact that such a significant urban center is embroiled in conflict underscores the gravity of the situation. A particularly telling development is the reported presence of numerous Prosperity Party leaders at Bahirdar Airport. These leaders, who represent the ruling party in Ethiopia, are reportedly departing the Amhara region. This evacuation coincides with the advancing Amhara Fano forces, which are now encroaching upon the city of Bahirdar. The departure of key political figures from the region signifies a moment of critical importance. It suggests that the situation has reached a tipping point and the leadership is acknowledging the imminent threat posed by the advancing Fano forces. Bahirdar, as the capital of the Amhara region, holds immense significance not only in terms of administrative authority, but also as a symbol of regional power. If the Fano forces were to gain control over Bahirdar, it would represent a seismic shift in the balance of power within the Amhara region. This development would have profound implications not only for the immediate military situation, but also for the broader political landscape of the region and possibly the entire country. It could redefine alliances, influence negotiations, and alter the course of the conflict in unpredictable ways. In essence, the latest reports from the Amhara region provide a stark illustration of the fluidity and complexity of the ongoing conflict. The clashes in Abay, the intense fighting on the outskirts of Bahirdar, and the departure of political leaders all contribute to a rapidly evolving situation. The fate of Bahirdar as a potential turning point in this conflict hangs in the balance, and the repercussions of its outcome will reverberate far beyond the city's borders. As the situation unfolds, continued vigilance and analysis are essential to understanding the evolving dynamics of this conflict. Apart from this, the United Nations is very worried about a dangerous situation in Ethiopia. There's been fighting between the government and local militias in different parts of the country, and it's putting many people at risk of being killed or harmed. Reports say that entire families have been killed and people have been forced to watch terrible things happen to their loved ones. Some communities have even been forced out of their homes. This suffering should not be allowed to happen, and we need to make sure that those responsible are held accountable for their actions. There have been concerns about this situation for a few years now, and there have been reports of terrible things happening to people in different parts of Ethiopia. The United Nations is calling for an immediate end to the violence, which includes mass killings, rape, starving people, destroying schools and hospitals, forcing people to leave their homes, and arresting people for no reason. There are also concerns about what's happening in other parts of the country, where there have been violations of people's rights and a growing sense of violence. The United Nations is especially worried because some of the attackers have been using hateful language and targeting people based on their ethnicity. This raises serious concerns that there could be a risk of a very serious crime called genocide happening in Ethiopia. The United Nations is also deeply troubled by reports of sexual violence against women and girls in some areas of Ethiopia. This kind of violence is completely unacceptable. The Special Advisor from the United Nations is urging that this violence needs to stop right away. She's worried because many signs show that there's a risk of very serious crimes happening in Ethiopia, and this violence must be stopped. Even though there was an agreement to stop the fighting more than a year ago, it hasn't worked, and the violence continues with reports of terrible things happening. The Special Advisor is also concerned about Eritrean troops and local militias in Ethiopia and the harm they are causing. The United Nations is calling for those responsible to be held accountable for their actions. If they are not held responsible, it could lead to more violence in the future, and this cycle of violence needs to be stopped urgently. In short, the United Nations is very worried about the violence in Ethiopia and is calling for it to stop immediately to prevent further harm to innocent people.